The lesson today is on values and color blending, and we're going to go ahead and create an imaginary bird using any color value except green. So what we do is we choose one base value, and my value here is going to be yellow. So the main bird will be done in yellow, and then I will go ahead and add the values of orange as it's shading. It'll look something like this. The first step to do this is to take your brush, and I'm using a large brush right now. These are the two main brushes that I like to use. This is a flat brush, and this is a small round brush. For this part, this is a filling in process, so we're going to do a large area right now, so I'm choosing the flat brush right here, and it's the wide flat brush. There's a difference. Narrow, very thin. This will do small areas. The wide will give me quick coverage. So I'm going to then go ahead and dip right into my yellow paint, load up pretty good, then touch the edge to release any drips. Now I'm going up toward the top of my page, so you're going to figure out top, middle, bottom, and then go ahead and go toward the top of your page, and you want to leave a little room for any other special details that you might want to have. But I'm going up here, dropping down about 2 inches, you can even measure, about 4 fingers, and I'm going to put a line. I'm going to then jump down a little bit more with my paint and put another line. I'm going to then connect both of them with the letter C, and then I'm going to quickly fill in. So we go ahead, basically draw a circle and quickly fill it in. Back and forth so you have smooth area of coverage. You don't want any thick puddles. You want it nice and even and smooth. It's okay if your edges aren't exactly perfect. We're going to then go ahead and do some blending. At this point I'm going to go ahead and do my body, which is the letter U. So underneath that head, just going to draw the letter U. Right with your brush, holding your brush straight up, filling in, and I'm going to create a nice even body. Doesn't matter if it's real big, real small, that's just going to be the character of your bird. If you have a larger head, smaller body, it's just going to be more of a, it'll look more like a baby bird. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some tail feathers. Once I have the body filled in, now I'm going to go diagonally this time. So I'm going to be going near the edge of one of the sides. It doesn't matter at this point which side you're going to. Find one of the sides of the body, and then you're going to actually drive, almost like you're driving a car, right to the edge of the page, right to the corner of that page. So I'm going from the body, I'm going to drive my brush right to the corner, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to blend it back and forth. Then I'm just going to come down and give some strokes here, some layers of feathers. And this edge I can leave pretty rough. You see this edge here? It's kind of rough and ending at its will. It's not a confined, even, smooth line. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some value to color. And orange is made from yellow, so I can go right into that. And I'm going to edge, first of all, carefully. I'll start with the body and my head area, and I'm going to edge it just with the orange. And I'll put some strokes in here with my brush, just 1 or 2 times to give it a little extra value. Then I'm going to take my brush. You can wash this brush or just wipe it on a paper towel or tissue just to remove any extra paint. And then I'm just going to feather it back and forth, just slowly blending just my edges back and forth. I want to be able to see the yellow still, and I want to be able to see the orange, and then I want to be able to create the second color, the yellow-orange color, when I mix. No matter what colors you're using, if you're using purple, dark purple, light purple, dark purple, you want to be able to see the in-between values you're making. Blend this in. So my goal is not to make the whole bird orange. It's just to show a little orange shadow at one side, or shading. There. To give it some definition and form. You can put a little bit under the chin if you'd like, a little bit around the tummy, and I did that with orange. Wipe my brush, and then I'm going to blend. Just blending the two areas in. So you have that gradation of color going from light to the darker shade. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and add your beak, and you can draw your beak any way you want, depending on the type of bird you're making. If you're going to be making, a toucan, you're going to do it obviously really large and really big. You're going to do a parrot, it's going to be shorter. You want it to have a little bit of a curve. So I'm drawing a horizontal line out, then I touch the body or the head, and then I draw a curved line down. And then I'm just going to fill this in. Trace my edge here, fill it in with even paint. Now, you can add any details you'd like to your bird once you've created that bird. I always like to let this dry, and so the second half I do another day or once this is dry. Now I can work on, I don't want to do my eye right now. I can now work on my backgrounds if I want to add leaves, plants, whatever else I'd like to add to this here, like I've done in this picture. Here's some examples of a first grade bird that was done. They added butterflies and trees, and then all of this detail was added another day once the background was dry, and they added it with a very thin brush. Actually, it was a thin round brush that we're using. Here's another first grade example. And again, your color combinations, you can choose how you want to add the details. This child chose to do some really detailed flowers here. This is a fourth grade example. They've got a lot of neat values in here and textures that they added to their feathers, so you can add other colors as well. What I demonstrated was just the base coats of these birds. Here's another fourth grade example. So between fourth and first grade, we have a little bit of a difference in their abilities. If you look up here, we've got a lot of neat detail here in the berries. So try and use your imagination and think of all different kinds of textures, patterns that you'd like to use on your bird, the greenery. If you're going to paint leaves, you always want to use different values as well. And I'm going to load my brush with some green, and I'll show you quickly how to make a leaf. I went up, just make a line up, and then you can actually press or print the petals of the leaves. Well, this is kind of like a fern leaf. So I'm doing a row down the side. And notice I don't even need to touch the stem, because the areas where they touch are so small that when you view it from a distance, you're not seeing that. Now I'm going to wash my brush, and I'm going to add a different value to it. I'm going to add a yellow next to it to make some yellow greens. And this kind of blends together. A lot of artists use blending, trying to get different types of paints. And the colors get mixed, and we're mixing right on the paper, like Monet would do, or the Impressionists. So they would create their colors as they paint, to mix right on that canvas. There, now I have a lot of values of yellow, green, and green. I can even add some dark colors. Blue is great in here. I'm going to stick just a hair of a little bit of a dark color down in here. There, if you want to add some flowers, you can go ahead and add your flowers. You can come around a center if you want, a center petal, and then just press, 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 press to create some flowers. If you want to add their centers with brighter yellows, you can with little dabs of color, and continue decorating that picture. Once this is dry, you can very carefully place an eyeball, and then carefully with that really small brush, you can put a circle around it. This could also be done with markers too, or oil pastel. Really looks good with oil. And then I'm kind of looking at some parrots, and that's what I did on my other bird, and I kind of copied the idea of the parrot having these darker feathers around their eye. This patterning looks real attractive. And so I get ideas from real birds, and then I'm creating my own imaginary bird. I'm going to add a little vent in the nose, put a little detail in the mouth, add lines of feathers. I'm going to work up some light purple as well, so that I have a mixture on my paper between light and dark. And just by using your imagination, you can create anything you'd like on your bird. You could put a stick here if he's going to be sitting on a branch. He might be here. Get some nice dark color. You know, this branch could go right on top, so I'd get some real dark color here. And then the fern is behind. You know, finish this with some vines connecting. I'm just dabbing on the leaves. Vines really look great. A lot of kids love doing this curly-Q type shape right in here. And then you fill it with your vine little tiny leaves. And I'm just pressing this flat brush. And actually the brush is doing all the work. It's loaded with a lot of different color, a lot of different value. And just by pressing, especially you can see over in here. Okay? And use your imagination. You want to fill up everything.